All right, let's see here. So it's my first time trying to have this chat here on the side, but let's see if it's going to work. Refresh. Let's see if the chat is going to come up for us. I don't think so, so I'm going to go ahead and stretch this bigger so we can use all of the screen. All right. So welcome. Good afternoon to everybody. I hope you guys can hear me okay. Anyone that's listening, can you hear me okay and see me okay? I want to check and make sure that you guys can hear me and see me. I'm trying to see live chat. There we go. That's what I want to see. All right. Can you guys hear me? All right. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. This week, I want to go ahead. I'm going to pull up my Twitter, because I am one of the speakers. There's going to be over 20 female traders that are going to be talking starting tomorrow. It's going to be going on Monday through Thursday. Absolutely free to register. Everybody has an hour of time to go ahead and educate. So if you are interested in getting pretty much like a week's worth of trading education from different traders, go ahead and you can go right to my Twitter. It's Airplane Jane. And click right here and you can go ahead and sign right up for that. It will be going on all week. I'm not sure, I think they'll give you the recordings for the entire week, but I will be on tomorrow, Monday at 3 p.m. And then, as you guys always know, the Modern Trader Summit, I don't know what's going on there. The Modern Trader Summit is going to be in Philadelphia this year, and it's July 12th and 13th. If you do sign up and you use the code WIT, you will get 25% off through the month of March. So definitely check that out. 25% off is great savings for the tickets. And we're going to have some great speakers there. We've got Kunal Desai from Bulls on Wall Street. We have Andrea Aziz from Bear and Bull Traders. We also have Jeremy Newsom from Real Life Trading, myself, as well as Michelle Snyder, who is known from Market Minute, and she's been trading for over 40 years. So a lot of variety of backgrounds coming together to help educate people, as well as TrendSpider is going to be there. We also have Don Hensley, who's going to be talking about shorts and where you can find the best shorts. So definitely check it all out. All right, let's go ahead and get into the week. So you guys know that I used to have my Series 7 back in 2000. However, it is no longer current. So please do your due diligence when you are trading. Know that all trades come with varying degrees of risk. If you're trading any sort of trading instrument, please keep that in mind, and please trade with proper risk management, okay? So going forward, let's start off with the indexes. Has anybody made a chat? Like, I can't see the chat. I just want to make sure you guys can hear me. If somebody can type yes, please, that would be awesome, so that I can know that you guys can hear me. Oopsies, I just did something I didn't want to do. Let me do it like this, and I should be able to see the chat. Awesome. Thank you so much, Andre. I really appreciate that. Okay, awesome. So let's go ahead and get into it, because I don't want to sit here and be jabbering away, which I've done before, and nobody could hear me. And I didn't see that until the end. So let's go ahead and start off with the indexes, right? So when we look at it, we have this prior trend line, right, back here that we actually hit. And we can go ahead and make it a lighter trend line so you can see it a little bit better. Style, let's go ahead and make it white so you can see it really well, right? So this was, I'm going to pull back on a weekly chart here. This is TradingView. If you guys do not know, I love TradingView because I can set it up. So you can see this acted as a point of, more of a resistance point right here back in 2012, as well as November of 2015. and it acted as support in 2018. We bounced off of it, came up. This is on our weekly chart, right? So it came up to the 20 simple moving average, and then it came all the way down to the 200 simple moving average on the weekly chart. So if history repeats itself, we might very well be seeing a bounce from this point of support up to 317. Of course, that average is moving down at the moment, right? But we might see a bounce from 287 all the way up to 317, and then back down to the 200 simple moving average, 262.81 right now, if history repeats itself the same way it did in 2018. So just keeping that on watch. That point right there, you can see we touched it again back in June of 2019. So it's a pretty strong trend line for everyone, for the index to bounce off of. Also, if you guys have any questions at any point while I'm doing this, just put them up in the chat. It is up there for me. So if you do see me looking up, that's going to be why I'm looking up there. All right, so we've also got QQQ. So let's also look at the SPY on the daily chart. So right now, also, if you guys do not already know, I do work with Stephanie Cameraman as well in the training pit to help people learn how to trade. And we follow the dark pool there. If you don't know what the dark pool is, I will pop the video in right here, up one side or the other, so you guys can follow it and figure out what the dark pool is. But the dark pool is really quickly going to be where the really big guys hide their massive orders so they can go ahead and get filled. Now, why is it so important to follow the dark pool? They have billions of dollars, and when you follow them, it's really easy to profit. You see this box up here? We saw another 17 million traded up here and roughly 51 million here, or 19 million. So we're looking at roughly 70 million shares that were traded at the top. That's usually going to indicate a massive move. Did we have a massive move? Yes, right? Now, on Friday, we saw 45 million shares coming in all day. What was that price? $297.89, the high of the day, which also happened to be the close of Thursday. So, is that buying or selling? We're not quite sure. However, where did we go after hours, right? After hours, we went ahead and we bounced up above, right? Now, there's also this other trend line here that we're butting up against. So this could be major buying or major selling again. We don't know yet. We're going to watch and see. But like I said, if history repeats itself, we look back at that weekly chart and we go up to that 20 simple moving average on the weekly, we could very well be going back up to 317.88 or 317 conservatively, because it's going to be moving down as the price action's moving up a little bit because of such the heavy weighted volume down there. So looking at it like that, we might see a dead cat bounce coming. That could have been wave one if we were using Elliott theory, and then we could be going into wave two right now, and then further down move from here. So not saying massively bullish at the moment or massively bearish, because we're not sure of the direction, right? But major volume day on the index. I mean, if you look back, right? When was the last time that we had that much volume? Maybe right back here. Let me pull out the volume right here. So on this day, 416 million. Up there's the volume. So with that massive volume day, we could have buying, right? It did come and it did hit this, oh, that was on the weekly chart, excuse me. It did come and bounce off of this daily trend line. So that could be pretty big buying right there, but we will see going into the week, all right? So let's go on to NASDAQ. So NASDAQ came down, let's scrunch it up a little bit. This is your 200 simple moving average, came down, and then it bounced all the way up, and it tested these averages up here, up above. If you guys want to learn more about this, come check us out in the training pit. It's awesome. You'll see why all these averages are really important. Look, it went bounce from here all the way up to there, and then it sort of stopped. Sometimes we'll call it ping pong, like trading ping pong, where we have levels and it's print pong, where we'll just go back and forth and back and forth. much like support and resistance, but you get to understand the reason why. All right, and then let's go to, I don't even have my Sunday list up here. There we go. So then we'll go on to the Russell. So same thing, it bounced off of a bit of support. I looked at that and I said, hey, maybe we're going to have a head and shoulders there. Sure enough, we did. All while I was on vacation. I missed some of it, but I had puts on, so I was prepared. Again, massive volume day, and it looks like we're closing that gap, came up a little bit. We could go up to that 152 area, potentially up here to the 200 simple moving average, 156.49. Let's look at the weekly as well to see what happened. So look, we came and we hit the 200 on the weekly. Now, what did we do back in 18, right? It came down, we had this average, this trend line here. Let's go ahead and make that white again. I hide it sometimes just to go ahead and restrict my eyes. So it bounced up here. There's not really a clear trend line that it's bouncing off of at the moment. More the 200 simple moving average on the weekly chart. However, that didn't hold back in 2018. So we'll see, did it hold back further? Came almost down here. Same thing, back in 2011 down here, almost down to here. So we might see that it's going to bounce and then come all the way down to 127 on the Russell. Just a rough gauge, you know, just looking at history of when it comes down, it bounces, and then it goes down that next leg down. So that might happen as well right here. So we shall see. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to delete all of these off right here because we've got new ones to add right to our list. So if you guys don't already know, I do use Trade Ideas to do all of my scanning and alerting. And then I use TradingView for my charting and different platforms for trading, obviously. As an American in Canada, it is quite restrictive as to who I can trade with. BMW, Sage, ERIE, SITE, and NDCA, GH, and AES. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into Apple, right? So Apple is a major part of the S&P, the QQQ, and Dow Jones Industrial Average. So when Apple is moving, you can watch for those 3 ETFs to be moving as well. Dow Jones, it is roughly 7%. NASDAQ, it is roughly 12%. And then it's only about 3.7% of the SPY. So for Apple, I'm going to go ahead and be looking at a support of 268.75 and resistance of 276.69 for going forward. I do like to look at the 15-minute chart in creating my levels here that I'm going to watch for support and resistance. Many times I will look at a 5-minute, 15, 45-minute, or daily chart while I am trading. So if we look at it on the daily chart right here, you can see that resistance, it's quite far away still from the 4 exponential moving average, so we could have that bounce up a nice $6. It could bounce all the way up $6 and then pull back. It might even bounce all the way up here. Now, again, what happened? When we look back at them, many times history will repeat itself, right? So this back in January, it came down big time, right? So it came all the way down to below, this is the 425 EMA, so it came all the way down below it. I mean, it barely had any support at the 200 or 161, and now it pretty much rode up from the 161 every single time that it hit it after June 10th of 2019. It came down and hit it here, and then it was following the 50 simple moving average right on back up. So we'll see what happens. Every time that it dropped down below, pretty much it had support at the 50 as well. So we'll see what will happen. All right. You know what, Kevin? I like the 45 just to give me that time frame to see, and I find that many times, let's go back to Apple, you'll see many times, I don't really want my Bollinger Bands on. I will also use the 50 simple moving average on the 45-minute chart, because many times that will act as resistance for a trend. So right now the trend is to the downside, right? So we were really far extended away from it. So with that 45, look at that. If we put that resistance right there, it's right at the 45, 50 simple moving average, right? And that's a coincidence. I didn't draw it on the 45-minute chart. I just drew it on the 15-minute, and that's where it happens to fall. So once it breaks from there, I just find that many times that 50 simple moving average on a 45-minute chart will act as resistance or support. All right, so let's go ahead and get into box. So box, also, if you guys don't know, I do use short volume, which is going to be the most up-to-date as opposed to short interest. I did do a live video a couple weeks ago about that if you guys want to learn about that. All right, so let's go ahead and put it up here, 1697. And I'm going to put support down here at 1625. 1625, 1697. Let's look back on our yearly chart. Let's get rid of these. Obviously that was way back in September. It's done well since then. All right, so on our daily chart, you can see we went ahead, we tested, but this, you can see how this green line's acting as support and resistance already. That is one of the moving averages that we use, and it's a good reason why we use it. I'm going to get rid of the SARs. I don't want them to say it. All right, so it could go, we could continue on up here to 1812. Again, we might have this nice run up. It was 54% short volume. We have had a massive bounce after earnings, or the market liked the earnings report. It bounced up, and it was lower. It does have 54% short volume from Friday, so that could be interesting. TTD, again, earnings winner that had a massive bounce. So you can see earnings happened back here on the 27th, right? And it pulled back into earnings, and then it bounced up, and it just continued to run on up. And I'm going to go ahead and put what was formerly resistance as support. So 283, 283.66, 293.36. When we go back and look at it on that yearly chart, you can see that was a resistance point in the past as well. Multiple times it acted as resistance, and then once it broke it, boom, came up to it, and now it might act as it might be a bit more of resistance. We might see more selling power. You can see the selling wick right here into it. The buyers took it up, the sellers took it down. However, this time the buyers are taking it up. It might come up and test this 20 simple moving average again, 290.95 right here, which if you do know anything about Bollinger Bands, Jim Bollinger set it up as the midline for his bands. So it could come back to the center line right here. Or we could see a further breakup, and then we might see a next test of resistance right up here around 300 or 303. All right, let's get into Resi. So Resi, same thing. I was looking at the earnings winners, right? Because the market was so down, and we had earnings winners that really had some great movement, especially on Friday. So looking at that and keeping it, I want to go ahead and put the resistance over here because it didn't touch that on Friday. It was there on Thursday, and then pre-market all the way up here at 11:30. So I might use that as a target. I might use this area as a target if we break above 1088 up to 1131. And when we look back at on the year, we can see there was that 1131 right there. Look at that. It's just above the 50 simple moving average right here, right? 1133. And look, it was acting as support back here, 1138, as well as right here. So many times you will see that those supports flip into resistance, or resistance flips into support. All right, so that was 1021 and 1088. Next one is a lower float. I like to do, well, on my daily watch list, I do the similar thing, and I talk through everything on Ticker Talker. I will put the link below. I know someone had asked me about that before, and I shot them an email that I said I was going to do it, and I forgot which video it was, and I didn't put it there. But I do also offer every morning where I walk through my watch list as well. on Ticker Talker TV, so I will put that. Actually, I don't know if I can do it. Let's see. Ticker Talker. It logs me in automatically. My profile. There we go. If you guys are curious, and I think you can watch this again, I think you can get there that way. Okay, so back over here while I'm thinking about it. Alright, so ICAD, so it is low float, 32% short volume, and we are up at a 52-week high, so there is no resistance here. Let's go back 5 years, nothing, all-time high, right, for now. Alright, so if we break out from here, looking at 1506 as the first point of resistance, and then on up to 1775, 1840, and then looking up at the 20 mark, and then 2090, and on up to 2150. So this one could have some legs with it and really run if some shorts start to get squeezed, and there is a squeeze into open on Monday. But for now, looking at it on our yearly chart, we don't have any resistance right here, but I gave you guys some targets on the way up. All right, on to our shorts. The market trend lately has been bearish, so shorts might do very, very well. This was on my list on Friday. You can see this was my support to watch, and look, sure enough, it broke it right at open, came down, tested it again, and then sold off. So many times, you know, you will see that my lists perform over and over again. All right, so 74.64 and 77.28. Okay, and on the yearly chart, if we go down a bit further, right there, 73.28, it looks like we might have some movement down to about 72, even maybe up a little bit more, 72.50, which coincidentally is right there with the 425. Love it when the levels coincide with the moving averages. All right, IQ, let's see, I don't know if we have any drawings here. Here we go. Go ahead and put our support right here. It did go ahead and break this resistance, so you can see it tested this resistance once, came back and broke through it again in the final hours of trading. Final minutes, I should say. It's 15 minutes, right? So the last 15 minutes of the trading day, it broke above, squeezed some shorts, came up, and then look at how this former support turned into resistance again. Algos and computers love looking and analyzing the charts like that. All right. Hey, this looks like it's a point at which we need to sell. Okay, we're going to go ahead and sell off. Boom. Starts right back down. Potentially, they will buy down here again. If it doesn't hold as support, boom, potential short opportunity there. And then that first target, you're going to be looking down, potentially down to 21.86, down to 21.62. And then we'll go down further on the daily chart. So 21.62 over here. Look at that. And then down to 21.12. All right. So this one did have earnings, big gap down, and might have secondary sell-off. However, it did drop down, found support down here, and they bought it up. Let's go on to VMware. VMware, massive, massive sell-off day. I'm just going to move these down here because we can still use them. But look at how it came up, tested the 200 simple moving average, and then it failed and dropped right off, right? Massive volume day. We have a bit of a doji there, right? So I would look for it to really break down below 1981. They did have buying power there, so first target would be down at 116. And then I would look for resistance right here. You see how it acted as support, broke down, boom, all the way down the end of the day, but the buyers went ahead and took it back up. Now, that could have just happened because there were people that didn't want to hold their shorts over the weekend, and so they bought it up in the last 15 minutes. So definitely looking for that to hold as support. If it doesn't, we'll likely sell off into Monday. However, it is really far extended away from that 20 simple moving average. And when we look at it on the daily chart, again, you can see it might have a bit of a snap back before there's more of a sell-off. So many times you'll see it'll come down, goes back up, comes down, goes back up, comes down, goes back up. So it could also have that run up to 135 or 134 area before they sell it off more. Okay. Like this. Let's go to Sage Therapeutics. You guys have any other questions while I'm chatting away over here? Where are you guys tuning in from? I'm cold today up in Canada. Even though it was absolutely gorgeous down in the Dominican. I was down there last Sunday. It was awesome. Sorry that I didn't do a live one. Too busy enjoying the sun, even though the ocean swallowed up my sunglasses. I gotta order some new ones. Alright, so 45.63 for support. You can see where I got that right here. And resistance, again, it was a support level, then it broke down below, and again, 47.23. Alright, when we go and look at it on the yearly, was swimming along, doing really nice, boom, came down. Earnings estimate on the 27th was 357. They actually were better than expected, 325. However, there's probably negative forward guidance for them, and so it just dropped down. When we look back on a 5-year chart, you can see this area acted as a resistance and support, right? Resistance right here for the green, and then the red was resistance right here as well. So if we break that, potential move down to 38.97, which was actually resistance here, and then support here, and resistance here. So it's really cool to see how that always happens. All right, next potential short, ERIE, which is an insurance company. Let's remove all the former drawings there. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put a 144.07. And then for resistance and support down here, excuse me, up a little bit higher, the higher low right there, 138.68. Now, this one is a super low float. Again, this is 25 million. It might be hard to trade, hard to find borrows, but I've got a good buddy. If you guys are into trading lower float stocks, shoot me up, send me a DM, shoot me a message at carpeprofit@gmail.com or jane@cjntrade, and I can get you hooked up with getting some great shares to short if you like to short low float stocks. Not my favorite personally, but I got the guy to talk to if you guys need some shares. All right, so ERIE just fell off with earnings, right? They were expecting 131, 114, so it was less by 17 cents. Market didn't like that. I don't really care what the earnings are, more how the market's going to react, right? So we're hitting a 52-week low here. When we look back on the weekly chart, you can see it found support on the 200 simple moving average, as well as a former support area, or excuse me, resistance area, which is now flipped to be support. So looking at that, there might be some buying power coming into it, or if it goes ahead and it breaks down further, 134.70, potentially down to 129.35. And then you can see that that acted as resistance here, and then flipped to be support. So looking at that potentially to hold as well. If that doesn't hold, on down to the 120 area. All right? Oh, awesome, Bob. Are you coming to Modern Trader Summit in July? Going to be right downtown. I used to live in Philly for 10 years. And I have to tell you guys, everybody that is watching, do not be stubborn. My father-in-law had quadruple emergency bypass surgery this week. So do not be stubborn. If you feel anything, just go ahead and get checked out. All right, so we've got site here. This is my potential swing list, right, that I'm going to go through right here. So site, you can see, came down, hit the 50 simple moving average, and it's bouncing up. So the fact that that held a support, that's going to be lower risk, right? If you were to get in here, you could use that 50 simple moving average as a potential entry for your risk management. If it were to close below, you go ahead and get out, potentially, for longer term swings here. So MDCA, same scenario. massive run up from earnings. The market obviously liked earnings and came up. We did hit a little trend line here. So looking, it might pull back to the 50 simple, excuse me, this is the 50 simple moving average here. It could pull back here and then bounce up further and then have a test up here at 261 at the 200 simple moving average area. Also COLL, I didn't put it on here, but it came up numerous times. So you can see it's really at a resistance zone right here. You can see all of the selling that happened above that. But we've got the 50 right here. So if this is able to hold and break out from here, it could really have some momentum, because you can look at it and you can see, all right, so it traded in this area for a couple days. We also had this zone right here where it traded, then it came down and it came right back to it. So potentially those shorts are getting back in. They're going to add more. They could take it down. But if that 50 simple moving average holds, then it could go ahead and rip up higher. An earnings announcement happened and the market did like it. All right. We did MDCA and GH. All right. Guardian Health, right? You can see in the past I just have my drawings that I leave on here just to keep them. So this one we have coming up and potentially testing resistance area. So looking if it were to able to break out over that 90 area, right? You can see it could have good movement right on up to 93, 98, and then on up. We might have it like a triple top up here. 1, 2, might be a head and shoulders setup. We'll see. But with everything going on with the virus, that might improve. I'm not sure if it's going to improve health stocks. I know that a lot of the pharmaceuticals like Novavax has done really well, but those are all, you know, it's a momentum trade at the moment, not necessarily a long-term trade. AES, again, this had earnings, came down, ended up halfway up on the day, but it could go ahead and fill that gap to the upside, and we might see, you can see this also came down to a former resistance area that flipped to be support, and it might have a lot of upside right here. But a lot of the utilities sector are getting beaten down, so it's something to watch, that might be an area later to invest in, as it is getting to be discounted at the present time. All right, do you guys have any further questions or anything like that? Otherwise, I might go ahead and just wrap it up for today. I know there's a bit of a delay, so I'm going to wait and see if you guys type anything in. No questions? All right. And as always, if you like my content, please like and subscribe. Carpe Profit sees those profits one trade at a time and trade with proper risk management. Have a great week ahead.